Hello, my name is Joseph Avila-Rey, and today I will be presenting my basketball sport analysis. I'll be covering the physiological and biomechanical demands of basketball, some of their major injury concerns, and then a workout example that connects back to the movement demands of the sport. Very quick overview of the sport. Basketball is a high-intensity, intermittent 5v5 sport. NBA games are played in 4 quarters of 12 minutes, and substitutions can happen throughout the game during dead ball situations. There are constant transitions between offense and defense, which is a huge reason the sport is so physically demanding, even though the court is relatively small. Four positional groupings, I divided the players into back court and front court because these groups usually experience different movement demands. Physiologically, basketball is not really a continuous endurance sport. It's more of a repeated short effort sport. Players usually cover around 5 to 6 kilometers during live playing time. Match intensity is often above lactate threshold, and heart rate regularly goes above 85% of max heart rate. This shows that players need enough aerobic support to recover between efforts, but the sport itself is mostly dictated by short, explosive efforts. Basketball is very acceleration and deceleration heavy. Elite players have shown to perform a high number of moderate accelerations and decelerations per minute, and even high decelerations can occur more often than high accelerations. This is because basketball is full of closeout, jump stops, defensive recoveries, and changes of pace. So players are not just producing force to move, they're also constantly absorbing force and redirecting it. Basketball also has heavy power demands due to players often performing around 40 to 50 jumps per game. This includes rebounds, second jumps, shot contests, and finishes at the rim. This is important to know because players are not just jumping, they are landing, repositioning, and doing it all over again over a stretch of time, often while tired or under contact. So from a performance and injury standpoint, landing stress matters just as much as takeoff ability. The Vasquez Guerrero paper shows averages over different time windows like 30, 60, 180, and 300 seconds to show that peak phases are much harder than full game means. The hardest 30 to 60 seconds of a game can be much more demanding than the average stats make it seem. These matter because those harder bursts are often where the game is decided and where fatigue and breakdown start to show up. When it comes to maximal sprint exposure, basketball players really do not get a lot of it in game due to the court being so small. Still, it is important to include near max sprint exposure in training. Now to the positional differences. Backward players usually do more high intensity locomotor work, more repeated acceleration and deceleration, and more transitional movement and shuffling. Frontcourt players deal with more rebounding, more interior contact, and more jump and landing stress near the basket. These movement demands are very different and should be considered when making position-specific training. Lower extremity injuries are the biggest issue in basketball. According to the data, lower extremity injuries made up about 61.8% of all injuries, with lateral ankle sprains making up 11%. Now onto the modifiable factors behind the injuries. These include poor landing mechanics, poor trunk control, weak braking ability, sudden spikes in deceleration or change of direction load, and low chronic tolerance to repeated eccentric stress. These matter because basketball constantly challenges athletes to absorb forces quickly and produce force again in new directions. And now for a quick workout example. The goal of this workout is to develop basketball-specific acceleration into deceleration ability, which helps the athlete create speed, absorb force, and reduce injury risk. The three drills I picked are the Lehigh closeout drill, the 5-10-5 drill, and a partner-based lateral shuffle into a percentage max sprint into a controlled stop. My reasoning for picking these drills is because basketball players rarely just sprint in a straight line with no follow-up action. Most of the time, they accelerate, break, reshuffle, and react. So I want these drills to mimic those reactions. The first exercise is the Lehigh closeout drill, which focuses on closeout speed, controlled braking, and defensive body positioning. To set up, players start under the basket and sprint all out to the offensive player out in the perimeter and recover back to their starting point. The main qualities being trained are acceleration, deceleration, trunk control, and short pace reactivity. Good adaptations are better eccentric braking, better stopping mechanics, and better control of center of mass during closeouts. The second drill is the 5-10-5 drill, which improves rapid acceleration, deceleration, and reacceleration during short change of direction efforts. The qualities trained are high acceleration into deceleration into reacceleration, planting mechanics, and center of mass control. The targeted adaptations are better change of direction mechanics, improved force absorption, more efficient push-off after braking, and better short burst quality. These actions apply well to how basketball is played. The third and final drill is a partner-based lateral shuffle into a 75% max sprinting speed into a stop. This drill links lateral movement into linear acceleration to a controlled stop. The way it's set up, the athlete shuffles for the first 15 meters, then transitions into a 75% all-out sprint, and then chops quickly at the end. The main qualities being trained are lateral movement, shuffle to sprint transition, submaximal speed control, and deceleration skills. Targeted adaptations are better braking mechanics after entering a moderate speed, better footwork and trunk control during stop phases, and better force absorption across multiple directions. This concludes the presentation. Here are the references I cited for my project. I will be linking them below in the description, so you can feel free to visit them and read them in your own time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a nice day.